And welcome into another episode of the Xtra Point here on WEJL 91.1 FM or online at WEJLFM.com. I'm your host, Jared Dillard, and alongside me is the one, is the only, as always, is Brooks Childress. Brooks, how's it going today on this Tuesday?
I'm great. It's a little chilly outside, but I'm fantastic.
You'll be okay. Get your long sleeve shirt on. We're kind of matching today. Me wearing the usual get up. And
you need to have a variety. I imagine at your house you've got a closet full of the same outfit.
No, it's not that. It's okay.
It's like Superman. He's got all his suits like right up.
If we're gonna be honest, there's just clothes on the floor. If we're gonna be super honest, just clothes on the floor, and I just pick something up. It happens to be this every Tuesday though. I'm just running with the gag at this point that I just wear the same thing.
I need it to change.
No, you won't get that. However, we do have a lot to talk about on the show today, especially March Madness is down to its final 4 teams. Get this, and those teams are Villanova.
Let's go Cats.
Michigan.
Big Blue.
Loyola Chicago. That's it, just
And Kansas.
And Kansas.
One of these things is not like the other.
One of these things is not like the other. And it's look, I'm all in on the Loyola National Championship bandwagon. That will eventually happen because they will win the championship at this point. I'm going to go ahead and give my Joe Namath guarantee that Loyola Chicago will win the national championship.
I'm waiting for when we order our scarves because we said
they're out of stock. I checked. They're out of stock.
They're out of stock.
They are out of stock.
All right, so
we can get a Final Four shirt, but at this point, I might as well just wait. If I'm not gonna get the scarf, I might as well just wait for the national championship shirt.
No, I'm getting the scarf. I don't know what y'all are talking about. I'm getting the scarf and the Sister Jean bobblehead.
Well, they've been out of stock for a week.
I'm getting both of them. When they come back in stock, I'm gonna be the first to order both.
Oh man! But if you want to join in on the show, talk about anything in the sports world. 334-844-9345. That's 334-844-9345 to call in. We can talk March Madness. We can talk Auburn basketball, Auburn baseball, Auburn softball. We want to talk about Premier Leagues. We want to talk about the MLS. We want to talk about opening day of baseball. We got you here on the Xtra Point on WEJL 91.1 FM. And let me tell you something. We're also on Eagle Eye TV, Channel 6. And with that, let's turn to March Madness. Let's talk about, what's coming up. Let's talk about the first game, that being Loyola Chicago and Michigan. The Cinderella. It's a Cinderella story. It's the 4th time an 11th seed has gotten to the Final Four. This doesn't happen a lot. And Loyola is playing on a different level than most 11 seeds are. And you're like, Jared, obviously, if they weren't playing on a different level, they wouldn't be in the Final Four. But what I'm saying is the way Loyola's playing mirrors. They're not playing like a mid-major school who just happens to be good. They're playing like a Power 5 school. They're playing a Virginia defense and an attacking, precise offense. They're playing like they actually belong, not they're trying to be scrappy and hang in there.
Yeah, they've got, no one, in my bracket, I saw Loyola. Loyola is a good team. I saw them getting to the Sweet 16, but that was it. I don't think anyone saw them going this far, unless you're a Loyola fan or not even Sister Jean Sister Jean had them losing, but this Loyola team has a legitimate big. They play, like you said, rock solid defense so far. Although they did win 3 games so far in the tournament by a total of 4 points. So it was a little, scrappy, kind of hang on at the end wins. Hit a luck shot, maybe 2 luck shots really to win games. And then this last game against, they played Kentucky. No.
No, played Kansas State.
Kansas State.
They should have played Kentucky, but that's a different story.
They played Kentucky or Kansas State, and they dominated that game. I was out to eat, but I was watching it Saturday night, and this Loyola team seems kind of legit. Like I said, they've got a decent big. They've played You said they play rock solid defense. When they're on fire, they hit their shots, and they don't miss often. And Michigan's going to have their hands full. I think it's a good chance Michigan wins because I really like how Wagner's come on here in the tournament for the Wolverines, and he's going to be a handful for the Loyola defense to deal with. But if anyone can do it, and if anyone can beat Michigan right now, it's Loyola's got a really good chance to.
Here's a stat that I saw for one of the games. Loyola Chicago going into the Kansas State game, and I believe the Kansas State game will count. They have had 24 games where they finished shooting above 50%. That is the most in college basketball this season.
They're not missing shots,
especially, and I bring up that stat because not only in the Kansas State game, but in another game, and it escapes me what other game it was. In the second half, they were shooting in the first 10 minutes 70 to 80%. They were making 11 out of 11 or 11 out of 13 shots opening the second half. They are a dangerous opening second half team. And because they get those wide leads in the beginning of the second half, that's what makes them kind of almost unstoppable, because along with the precise offense that's all throughout the game, the fact that they had the offensive surge in the second half coupled with their scrappy defense, they make the opponent turn the ball over a lot. Coupled with that and just the opponent's inability to get off shots, Loyola Chicago, not only can they limit you to 50 points, which if they do, I'm guaranteeing that they will beat you, because Loyola will score more than 50 points. Not only that, Loyola, I feel like, against a team like Michigan, against a team like Kansas or Villanova, could easily put up 70 points and be comfortable with it. The offense will beat you, but if you're not careful about that defense, they'll put you away early. So that's why I'm really high up on this Loyola team, because they're playing the right formula. Now, that being said, they're playing with. I'm not going to say playing Kansas State wasn't with the big boys, but I mean Michigan and Kansas for certain are bigger than Villanova, and they're going to have to be careful about certain things that they do. Villanova is a different. I feel like they can square up with Villanova pretty easily. Now, will they win? That's a different question. But I feel like that they are better well matched against Villanova than they are against Michigan and Kansas. And I think Kansas would be the toughest game for them.
I don't know. I think Villanova's the best team in the tournament right now. Going into this past weekend, they were the best. I thought they were the best team in the tournament, not named Duke, and then Duke lost in overtime because Grayson Allen is not clutch and he can't hit shots, and he should not have taken that shot. But what are you going to do now? But I think Villanova's the worst matchup that you could get for if you're Loyola. I think Brunson, Bridges. I think Jay Wright's done a great job coaching this Villanova team this year to get them to this point. I think Villanova's the best team overall in the tournament because when they hit shots, they can hit shots. And yes, Loyola is a good start. Is also really good at making shots, but Loyola also plays in the Missouri Valley Conference, which is not the same caliber conference as Villanova plays in a very competitive Big East. And I think that gives Villanova a big leg up on Loyola, even though Loyola is playing really good basketball.
I think it's actually pretty cool that I can say there's something about each of these four different teams that I can say. I think Loyola Chicago is a team with the most momentum going in to this Final Four. I think Michigan's the hottest team coming in. And the difference between those is Loyola has a lot of fan support behind them, so they can feel that momentum. But Michigan is hot when it comes to the basics. And then you have Villanova, who I consider the best team out of the four. I feel like they have the complete package. And then there's Kansas, who I feel has the biggest chip on their shoulder. And you would think, well, wouldn't Loyola, the 11th seed, have the biggest chip? No, because Loyola actually believes that they are supposed to be here. Whereas Kansas struggled with Penn, and then they couldn't exactly put Clemson away. And then they finally got that good win against Duke, but the whole Kansas curse thing is still following them. So I think Kansas does have the biggest chip on their shoulder, because when it's all said and done, I feel like most people are more wary on Kansas than they are on any other team in the Final Four. Surprising because, again, Loyola Chicago is there. And we didn't know who that team was, a month and a half ago.
Loyola Chicago is playing with house money right now because they weren't supposed to be here. They were supposed to be out maybe the first round, maybe the second round. Definitely by the Sweet 16 they were supposed to be out.
They didn't pack this many shirts in order to get here.
Yeah. So they're playing with house money. I think that even though they're like, we deserve to be here because of what we've done, I think that's going to end up running out because they're going to, if they make the national championship game, they're going to run into either Kansas or Villanova, which are both, one's a blue blood, one is a very good team that could be considered a blue blood, maybe not on blue blood status just yet, but I think it's going to be hard for Villanova to compete in this Final Four.
Now, the way this is all setting up, Brooks, our next show, by the time our next show happens, the national championship would have happened, correct?
Correct.
To this on Monday.
Yes.
So it's time for picks. Like, put up or shut up. This is it. So I guess we'll just go ahead and start it now. Loyola Chicago, Michigan. I'll let you go first on this one.
Oh, Loyola Chicago, Michigan. It's a tough game to pick because you don't. You're like,
Michigan's the hottest team.
Michigan's one of the hottest teams. Loyola's also really, really hot, and they're coming in. They've got the Cinderella factor. They've got, Sister Jean. They've got the country is cheering for them. But I just don't. I said it last weekend, and I thought Loyola Chicago was going to lose, and I was wrong. And
so
I kind of
here's our question: do you want to be wrong again?
I kind of hope I'm wrong, and I think Michigan's going to win. I think it's going to be a close game. I think it's going to be like a maybe top out in the low 60s score because they never shoot well in the Final Four, and so it's going to be like a mid 60s score. I think Michigan wins that one very close, maybe 2 points.
I am all out of love for March Madness after not only did Auburn lose, but I had to watch Michigan State lose. I had to watch Duke lose. I had to watch my bracket be utterly annihilated.
Be lit on fire.
I'm all out of love. I'm taking Loyola Chicago in this game. I think that coupled with the scrappy defense and just how well they can shoot the ball, especially the second half. The start of the second half is going to be so key to what this game is going to turn into. If Loyola Chicago can do what they do in the first half, shoot precise, and keep that field goal percentage above 50%, they'll be in the game going into half. It's to start the second half where they're going to create that separation if they can. If they can, they can get the win. If they don't, they're going to have to play some really good defense because this is a high-scoring Michigan team. This is a Michigan team that, belittled Texas A&M and almost ran them out the building with 98 points. An A&M team, that was big. That was a big A&M team. So for Loyola Chicago, it's going to be all about how well they can shoot that ball, that 50% mark that's done them so well. And on top of that, if they can just keep playing that scrappy defense that's gotten them so far into this tournament. Now, that being said, we're going to take a quick commercial break. We got to get to that commercials, and when we come back, we'll talk about the other side. We'll talk about the Kansas-Villanova factor and the national championship that both of us have set up in our minds. So that's going to do it for this first segment. When we come back, we'll talk about the national championship for college basketball. If you're going to call in and you want to talk about what your national championship picks are, if you want to talk about anything in the sports world, you can call in at 334-844-9345. That's 334-844-9345. You're listening to the Extra Point here on WEGL 91.1 FM or online at WEGLFM.com.
This is a place where it only takes a second to imagine your future. Grasp a new concept in class. Inspire a child's curiosity. Discover a real-world solution. Seize an unexpected opportunity.
There goes Davis!
This is where you gain the preparation, confidence, and determination to succeed. This is Auburn.
So, I'm kind of new here, but I've noticed a trend. My human does this funny thing where she goes around and gets all my toys, and then she hides them in that basket by the door. It's like, hello, that's where you put it last time. You were the worst at hide and go seek.
And welcome back into the Extra Point here on WEGL 91.1 FM or online at WEGLFM.com. I'm your host, Jared Dillard. Alongside me is Brooks Childress. So we're going to get right back into our national championship discussion. If you want to join in on anything national championship-wise with basketball or anything in the sports world, you can call in at 334-844-9345. That's 334-844-9345. Speaking of the phones, we're going to go to the phones because we have somebody waiting.
Hey, we got Chris from Auburn on the phone. Hey, Chris.
Hi, guys. How you doing?
Great. How are you?
I can't complain. Another week in paradise. What can I say?
Another week in paradise. Well, I'm glad you're doing well, Chris.
Guys, listen, I appreciate the March Madness talk as much as the next guy. We got the Final Four this weekend. It should be a lot of fun. We got some big names, and then we got some no-names. And we got a Sister Jean. You know, we got all that we could ask for. But listen, guys, I'm concerned that y'all weren't going to touch on the start of baseball. It is 2 days away. Do y'all even like the MLB? Could I have heard MLB on the show schedule today?
Well, we kind of had it scheduled.
Yeah, we've got it scheduled later on in the show, Chris.
If you want to talk,
Okay.
if you want to talk about it now, we can.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, let's talk about it now.
Well-
What do you guys think? Who's going to win it all this year? Who's
Oh,
the
woo.
biggest?
That's a big jump. I'll tell you this, though, because we got this in the break. The Mariners and veteran outfielder Jason Worth agreed to a minor league deal. That just happened a couple minutes ago, and that's coming from the Seattle Times.
Well, okay. I mean, Worth's a good-time player for the Nationals, so that's a good pickup for him. A minor league deal, that means you don't got to pay him as much money, but you still expect him to be on the big league roster. I see you, Seattle. Guys, I'm worried about the Yankees. I mean, good Lord. Who do they not have? That's the big
Wait,
question.
are you worried about the Yankees? Like, you don't think they're going to do well? Or are you worried because you think they're going to Golden State the Major League Baseball?
The second one. I don't know how you beat them. How do you beat them?
You gotta just beat them with homegrown talent. I mean, look, this is the Yankees team that had a lot of talent last year, but still couldn't reach the World Series. Obviously, yes, they're loaded up again, But let me tell you something. Let me tell you what money can't buy. It can't buy heart.
Oh, my God. You sound like a Yankees fan. Are you a Yankees fan?
They're my second favorite team. But other than that.
The Yankees, I mean, their lineup right now is very intimidating. You got Giancarlo Stanton, you got Aaron Judge, you got a great arsenal in the pitching. But they're not unbeatable. If you can, work around their big bats right there in the middle of the lineup, and if you can hold them with decent, if you can counter their good pitching with decent pitching of your own, you can beat them. It's not going to happen as often as you'd like it to, but the Yankees are not without flaws.
So I'm going to tell you guys this. If you're a big video game nerd, MLB The Show 18 comes out today, and there was an article that they simulated the whole season to see what would happen. The Yankees won 118 games.
Oh, no.
The Yankees and Cubs met in the World Series, and the Yankees beat the Cubs 4-1. So if MLB The Show is anything to go by, the Yankees are, in fact, going to obliterate at least 2/3 of the league.
They're quite good, guys, I tell you. But what about the local team? What about our Braves? How are we looking this year? What do you guys think?
Take what we said about the Yankees and just flip it 100% opposite.
Oh, no.
I mean, who's the minor leaguer who just rejected a $30 million deal for the Braves?
Acuna.
Yeah.
Yes.
Acuna.
The extension. Things just aren't looking up for the Braves. I mean, they have a lot of homegrown talent. Don't get me wrong.
I don't think the Braves are going to be. I'm a kind of a baseball nerd myself, and I watch spring training and I pay attention to spring training. I don't think the Braves are going to be as bad as they have been in these past few years. Now, I don't think they're a playoff team just yet, but they're growing and they're climbing back into that playoff seat potential.
Are you guys going to get a Braves game this year?
I hope so.
I hope so as well. One of these Braves games. I don't know which one.
SunTrust Park, but I hear it's quite fun.
Oh, I was about to ask you, have you ever been to SunTrust Park?
I haven't made it yet, man. I tell you, this work schedule, I just can't find the time. But I would love to go.
Well,
I'm a tomahawk chop guy for sure. But guys, listen, I love the show as always. Thanks for having me on, and y'all have a good weekend. Enjoy the Final Four. And Rock Chalk Jayhawk. That's who I'm going with this week. I'll see you guys.
Thanks, Chris.
I think Chris made a bad choice by rooting for Kansas. Do they know about the Kansas curse?
I don't know. I guess we'll find out.
Then again, here's the stat that I'm going to throw out here. Hey, do you know that Bill Self has never lost a championship when the year ends in an 8? It's only once in 2008. So
this is it.
If we're going based off that, I think he has this one in hand.
This is it. This is the year.
Well, I'm glad Chris ended on Kansas, so let's switch to the Kansas-Villanova game. Let's get our picks in.
Seamless transition.
All right. You want to go first? You want me to go first?
No, you go first this time because I had to go first for the other game.
Man, let me tell you something. This is the game everybody wanted. So the right side of the bracket kind of broke the way we thought it would. The left side of the bracket, especially the South region, just blew up in everybody's face.
Yes.
Villanova is the best team in the tournament. Kansas has the most NBA potential, and they can play like the best team, but they can also play like a bunch of freshmen who just stepped onto the court for the first time.
A la Kentucky.
You're right. Because Kentucky literally does that every year. And what Villanova brings is just smart basketball. Smart, good, solid basketball. What Kansas brings is unpredictability. Oh, man, Kansas can be dangerous. Kansas can be scary. But they can also be a team that looks like they don't know what they're doing sometimes. So it's a tale of, well, which Kansas is going to show up? Is it the Kansas that we saw against Penn and a little bit against Clemson? Or is it the Kansas that we are going to see against Duke that, went toe-to-toe with one of the most loaded teams in the country and was able to scrape by in overtime? that was shooting so well from behind the arc. They were not missing anything, it felt like. Or we're going to get the Kansas that's going to create the stupid plays, throwing the ball out of bounds, just looking disorganized. What Kansas are we going to get? That's going to be the key to this game. Unfortunately for Villanova, they're probably going to get the Kansas that showed up against Duke. Because Kansas, they found themselves. Unfortunately for Kansas, they're Kansas. Villanova with the win.
I've watched both of these teams a lot this year because excuse me, because they are both, big time programs like we said earlier, and they're going to be on national TV a lot, so you're going to watch them more. Kansas, I've watched when I'm watching them all year. I'd have never thought they were a national championship team this year. Some years you're like, yeah, Kansas has a chance to win a national title. This year I didn't think so, and they've made it to the Final Four, so they've almost proved me wrong. They haven't proved me wrong just yet. They've had a decent run, struggled quite a bit, but they've had a decent run. Villanova, on the other hand, they struggled in the regular season, but since the postseason has started, back to the Big East tournament, all the way back into the Big East tournament, they have not shown much weakness. There's been a little bit there where they've had close games and they've struggled a little bit, but nothing on the scale of Kansas. I think that Villanova is more steady, more on the right track, heading for another title this year than Kansas is. And I think Jalen Brunson, I think Bridges, I think they are the two X factors for Villanova. They've got experience, and I think they're going to take over this game, and I think it's going to be Villanova. I'm not saying it's going to get ugly, but it may get ugly if Kansas does not play their A game.
What Villanova lacks in NBA star potential that Kansas has, they're going to make up for in experience.
Jay Wright is always, I love Jay Wright. He's one of the great coaches in college basketball, and no matter his talent level, he always has them playing to their full potential and challenging for tournament spots.
And that's what experience gets you. Like, the guys on this Villanova team, they've been here, done that. Some of these guys know what it's like to play on this kind of level. For Kansas, I mean, you got the NBA star potential. But some of these guys, this is the first time being on a stage this big.
And it's even bigger in the Final Four because you're playing in a football stadium. And so you've got thousands of more people than you normally would be playing around, and the court is, not, it's raised court.
Elevated, yeah.
You've got not the same sight lines for shooting when you're in an arena. And so players like Villanova's players who have experience in those types of situations are going to thrive. And shooting's never that great in the Final Fours or in the national championship game. But with experience playing in these types of situations, I think Villanova's got a big advantage over Kansas.
Quickly, as we're about to head to our next break, let's get our national championship picks in. We've already analyzed all four teams. Just give us who you think is going to win. Brooks, you have Michigan and Villanova. I have Loyola Chicago, Villanova. Give me your pick.
I think, well, let me say one thing. I think this game, my game, Michigan, Villanova is going to come down to a battle between Wagner and Bridges. I think Bridges wins the battle. I think it's those two that decide the game, and I think Bridges wins it, and I think it's going to be close. I think it'll be 4 points. Spread, Villanova.
I'm so out of love. Loyola Chicago over Villanova for the national championship. I'm all in.
I mean, they're 1-0 in national title games.
They are.
Last time they made it to a Final Four was when they won the national title.
1964. They're going to recreate that magic along with Sister Jean. And whenever that ESPN 30 for 30 comes out, I'll have the title for it. But for us, we got to go to a quick commercial break. When we come back, hey, we may talk some MLB Opening Day. We kind of touched on that already. We may talk some Auburn baseball today. They're going to take on Alabama down over in the Capital City Classic. Let's talk some Auburn softball or whatever you want to talk about. How do you do that? You can call in at 334-844-9345. That's 334-844-9345. You're listening to The Extra Point here on WEJL 91.1 FM or online at weglfm.com.
If you don't fix them, sparks from dragging tow chains could cause a wildfire, and that could be scary. Hi, Smokey. Only you can prevent wildfires.
See on page 4 that the projections need to be tornado next Thursday.
Seriously? Thursday? Can't do that.
This is really inconvenient.
I have yoga that day. I have no time for this. So.
I can't do Thursday, but I can do Friday.
Disasters don't plan ahead. You can. Talk to your loved ones about how you're going to be ready in an emergency. Don't wait. Communicate.
And welcome back into the Extra Point here on WEGL 91.1 FM or online at weglfm.com. It's just always your reminder that you can listen to us on SoundCloud and on iTunes at WEGL 91.1 FM. You can also catch us on Eagle Eye TV Channel 6 or eagleeyeauburn.com. If you want to see our pretty faces, because, you know, that's always a plus. Let's turn to Major League Baseball. I know we touched on it a little bit in our last segment when Chris called in. However, we didn't really get into the meat of it, where MLB Opening Day is this Thursday. And there's a lot of big games. If we're going main channel big games, we have a list of them right here for you. So the first big game that day is going to be 12:30 Eastern, 11:30 Central. So we're getting some games early. It's the Cubs at the Marlins.
I mean, it's a high-profile game on one side because the Marlins, they kind of blew up their organization this year. They got rid of a lot of good pieces. So it's going to be interesting to see what the Marlins are this year. I think the Marlins have a big potential to be to finish last in the NL East, because the Phillies have shown they've got some decent prospects coming up. I think the Braves are going to be better than what people are thinking. And obviously the Mets have great pitching, and they're going to stay up top. And the Nationals are one of the early favorites to potentially go to the World Series like they always are. So with the Marlins blowing up their organization, I think this year is kind of a throwaway year, and they're not going to be that good. And the Cubs, they're obviously still a really good team. They lost a few key pieces like Jake Arrieta, who is now at the Phillies. He's make his debut coming up this week. So it's a high-profile game on one side. I think, the Cubs have that one, unless they shock us and the Marlins fans get hope for some reason.
Speaking of the Astros, they are the next high-profile game.
Who spoke of the Astros?
Didn't you bring up the Astros?
I did not.
I swore you brought up the Astros.
To? You're not listening to me.
You know what, Brooks? You're right. I don't listen to you when you talk.
You.
I could have sworn you brought up the Astros at some point during your 2-minute rant.
Nope.
Bringing up the Astros. All right, well, either way, there is their next game up at 3:30 Eastern, 2:30 Central. Look, it's Tuesday. It's been a long day. On ESPN, the Astros take on the Rangers.
It's going to be these two teams are not opposite, but there's not a lot in common with them. The Rangers are going to struggle this year. They're obviously not going to win the... I say obviously. You would obviously think they're not going to win the NL West because the Astros are the team in the NL West to beat, and they're, again, another favorite to at least make it to the World Series, if not win it again. And they brought a lot of players back, and I don't know. I couldn't name you 3 players on the Rangers right now. I know Elvis Andrus is probably still there because he's always there, but Astros, I think they're going to be really good again this year, and we'll see where their potential goes, because they've still got great pitching and great bats.
Well, hopefully they don't pull a Royals. Remember, the Royals won the World Series not too long ago, and then they kind of just fell off the map.
They did.
The next ESPN game, this would be the last of the 3. There's 4. There's 4 of them. They were back to back on my list here. At 7 Eastern, 6 Central, the Giants take on the Dodgers, and then at 10 Eastern, 9 Central, 2 hours later, the Indians will take on the Mariners.
Both of these games are good games. I mean, I love all baseball, so I'm going to say every game's a good game. The Dodgers, I think, they've got a great potential to win the West this year. Again, the Giants are going to be really set back with the loss of Madison Bumgarner. They got that news this weekend. He was hit by a line drive on his pitching hand in, I think, his last spring training start. And so he's going to be out till, I think they said midsummer. So that's going to really hurt them with their pitching is already kind of shaky. Bumgarner was kind of the rock there that every time Bumgarner would go out, you're pretty much guaranteed to get a good start. So that's going to hurt the Giants going forward in the season. And then Indians, they're always in the mix in the Central. The Tigers, I don't think they have to worry about this year. I think the Royals could make a comeback this year, not guaranteeing anything, but I think they could make a comeback and playoff form this year. The White Sox are not good in that division. The White Sox could finish with the worst record in baseball. And it's wide open right now. I say wide open. I think it's the Indians and the Royals in the Central for the AL.
Let me break into your baseball talk for a little bit. We got some news coming in. Georgia officials, this is from the Atlanta Journal-Constitution, Georgia officials recommend felony aggravated battery charges for Hawks Dennis Schroeder from his September arrest. That's just coming into our studio right now.
Just when you thought the Hawks couldn't get any worse.
Hey, got a tank. Now.
No, your team got in trouble for that.
Yeah, find
Mavericks.
me. Find me. Find me on the radio.
Adam Silver will.
If you're listening, Adam, do it. I dare you.
He just spoke to me through my earphone. He said, you have to give me $2.
Well, considering you can't say $2, I'm not going to do it. Hey, you want to play a little bit of a game?
Sure, I love games. Can we play game show music?
We can play game show music.
I love the game show music.
Are you ready?
Yes.
Here we go. Brooks, the totals for MLB payrolls have come in.
Like full payroll? Like
full payroll.
Ooh.
So.
The Yankees is north of $1 billion.
I have the list of the top 3. Well, I have all 30 of them. But I have the top 3, and I want to see if you can name the top 3.
Oh. 2 are going to be easy, probably. I don't know if I can get the third one. Do I have to name them in order, or could I just give you top 3 and you have to tell me, or you tell me?
I'm going to give you the amount.
Okay. And I have to name the team?
Yes.
Okay.
So this first team is the highest paid, or has the highest payroll at $223 million.
It's one of 2 teams. I think it's the Dodgers.
It is not the Dodgers.
Ooh, then it's got to be the Yankees.
It is not the Yankees.
What? Who's paying more?
I don't know. That's what the game's all about.
Oh, my gosh. Who could be paying
You've
more?
been stumped.
Oh, man. I was for sure I got that one. Dodgers, it's not the Dodgers, not the Yankees. Who else is paying their players? Is it the Astros? They don't have that much money.
Nope.
How many guesses do I get before you're like,
until I get bored.
I don't know. Red Sox.
It is the Red Sox at $223 million.
That's a lot of money. I didn't know it was I didn't know the Red Sox were paying everyone that much. Woo.
the Dodgers, with the Red Sox coming in first, that ends the Dodgers' 4-year streak at being at the top, by the way.
Because that's why I guess the Dodgers, because I'm like, no, Magic Johnson came in and they just started spending money left and right, like get everyone here.
Yeah. Second is $203 million.
Is that the Dodgers?
It is not.
Is that the Yankees?
It is not.
Like, they... man, this is... I don't like this game anymore. Astros.
It is not.
Wow.
They have a whole lot of homegrown talent, so you can guess they're not going to be very high up on this list.
Nationals.
It is not.
You fooled me because I thought you were about to say it is. And I'm like, yeah.
This team made a big trade this offseason to acquire an outfielder.
Is it the Giants?
It is the Giants.
Oh, Andrew McCutchen does drive that price up, but I can't believe they're the number 2 on that list.
And sitting at third at $183 million.
Dodgers.
No.
Yankees.
No.
What?
You're
this
stumped.
is ridiculous.
You're stumped. I love it. I knew the moment I saw this on my phone, I was like, I'm going to get him with this.
This is ridiculous. How are the Yankees and the Dodgers not top 3? Oh, man. Nationals.
It is not.
Cardinals.
It is. Are you kidding me? No. They are a mid-market team.
Overpay someone. Angels?
It is not. It's a high-profile team.
Is it a big market?
Yeah. They're a big market team.
Mets?
No.
Who else is a big market team? Is it the... It's not the Athletics. They play Moneyball. Oh. Rangers?
No, it can't be that hard.
It's not the Braves, is it?
No.
I got nothing. Wait. Baltimore.
No.
All right, I give up.
Cubs.
I quit. I'm done. I'm going to walk out.
All right. So, the Yankees payroll.
If you tell me they're not top 5,
the
Yankees
payroll is at its lowest point since 2003.
How?
They are only paying $167 million. That is 7th.
7th? They just got charged. Oh, my gosh.
See, we opened up the show talking about how the Yankees went and bought everybody, yet they're not even top 5 in payroll.
They bought everybody, but they bought everyone cheap, apparently.
Apparently they have. So we can't even make fun of the Yankees anymore. Also, let's go ahead and end it on this. There are 2 teams tied for lowest payroll at $71 million. Can you name these 2 teams?
Diamondbacks.
No.
Braves.
No.
White Sox.
That's 1.
White Sox, Athletics.
That's 2. There it is.
Moneyball.
Gotta get that Moneyball in there. Oh, that was fun. I like that game.
I'm mad now.
You're mad?
I can't believe the Yankees are 7th.
Hey.
Now, speaking of the Yankees, I've got a little... I found this on Twitter. The Yankees for this year are introducing... Like, you can buy beer at the stadium, and when the Suds on the top, they draw the players' faces in them.
The things people will do.
That's probably cost you like $40 too.
Hey, well, you got to make money somehow. They got to pay that $167 million somehow. That's a $10 beer right there. Hope you guys can get drunk off of that.
That's a $40 beer. Are you kidding me? That's Yankee Stadium.
All right. We're going to take a quick commercial break, and when we come back, we're going to talk a little bit of Auburn baseball, maybe some Auburn softball, just Auburn sports in general.
I'm just mad.
You're listening to the Extra Point here on WEGL 91.1 FM or online at WEGLFM.com. Brooks is going to take a quick time out and...
You rigged this game.
and get his mind right. And
I got so excited for the game show music.
We'll be right back with the Extra Point.
Fans, direct your attention to the flagpole for a special presentation.
You never really leave Auburn, because Auburn never leaves you.
So, I just moved in with this family, and it's embarrassing. The little one, he likes to go outside and crawl around in the giant litter box. I don't know what he's doing. I mean, I was born and I knew how to use the litter box. Look at that. That's disgusting. Oh, poop already. You're making me nervous. Oh, okay, I can't look at this anymore. I really hope he grows out of this, for his sake.
I hope that you've been able to learn a strong work ethic surrounded by character, integrity, perseverance, so that when your 1 second comes, you'll be prepared for it.
Chris Davis.
45, there goes Davis!
Your 1 second, our 1 second is now. And our lives have been guided by the principles of one of the greatest academic institutions in the country, Auburn University.
And welcome back into the Extra Point here on WEGL 91.1 FM or online at WEGLFM.com. I'm your host, Jared Dill. Alongside me is Brooks Childress. And as we end the show, let's end with some hometown teams. Let's talk Auburn baseball as they get ready for the Capital City Classic against the Alabama Crimson Tide. Auburn coming off a tough weekend where they dropped 2 of 3 to a ranked Kentucky team on the road. However, Auburn is one of the hottest teams in the country. Brooks, what are you expecting out of the Auburn team today? Unfortunately, I do not think I have a starter for today. Considering it is a midweek game, I'm going to go ahead and rule out Casey Mize.
Oh, yeah, Mize will not go tonight.
I'm going to go ahead and rule out Mize, Tanner Burns, and Daniels as starters. There may, if I had to go out on a limb and take a wild guess at who could start today, Andrew Mitchell, I would say, will probably be the starter today.
I mean, he could be. Is a potential. I don't know.
I think he started the last midweek game, so I think that's gonna be the best bet for Auburn coming in.
Yeah, he could be. They're obviously not going to throw any of their weekend guys out there. It's a big game, but it's not like the Capital City Classic is a non-conference meeting. They don't count this meeting toward their conference record, so it just goes through overall record and bragging rights, and it's not important when it comes to conference tournament time.
As far as Auburn's season goes, let's talk about the success that they've had. Right out the gate, first game against George Washington, obviously they
played Longwood.
Whatever, whoever they played. They put up the points. I mean, they've humiliated teams when it comes to points. However, one thing that's been lacking for the Auburn pitching staff has been the bullpen play. The bullpen play hasn't been the best. The starters have been lights out, especially Casey Mize, who not only leads the SEC in wins and strikeouts, 5 wins, 63 strikeouts, but get this stat. His strikeout to ball ratio is 21-1. That's ridiculous.
That's impressive.
He is one of the, if not the best pitchers in the SEC.
Oh, he's one of the best pitchers in the nation. And that's I'm wearing an Auburn shirt, so it may be like I'm biased, but he's really one of the best pitchers in the nation. The better performances he has, the closer he gets to maybe being a top 5 draft pick come MLB draft coming up in June. I want to disagree with you on something you just said. The bullpen hadn't been the greatest, but it's been doable because
it's doable
because you get
it's doable when your team can get out to 6 and 7 runs.
But
it's ridiculous that your bullpen gives up 4 or 5 runs when it goes out there.
Not every time, though. Like, a lot of times, and if you watch Auburn baseball this year, there's been a lot of games that they've gotten down. Like, the starter will give up a few runs, they'll be down, and then the bullpen will come in, and they'll hold their opponent to, minimum damage or no damage, not scoring any more runs, and allow the Auburn bats to come heat up and get back into it in the later innings of the game and end up winning the game. So some of it, the bullpen hasn't been the best, but it hadn't been, like, oh, this is the worst bullpen in the world. It's so bad, it's terrible. But they've been doable. They've been able to, on quite a few occasions this year, hold the opponents to not scoring runs that the starter has already given up runs and given the Auburn bats a chance to get back into the game.
It is important to note that Auburn was 6th in the nation when they played Kentucky. However, after dropping 2 of 3, they have fallen back to 11th. Kentucky is now 10th. And by the way, there are 5 teams in the top 10 that are SEC teams, Auburn being the first one outside the top 10 at 11.
I will say, I think Auburn's a better team than Kentucky. I think that this weekend was one of those fluke weekends because you got in, you played Friday night, Saturday your game got snowed out, and then Sunday you had to play doubleheader, both 7-inning games in the cold. And so, yes, you do get an extra day rest for your Saturday starter, but you throw them off his rhythm. You throw everyone off their rhythm. You get them tired. Because Auburn, they won the second game. They lost Friday, won the first game Sunday, and they lost the second game Sunday when they were tired. So I don't expect Auburn to lose many series this year. This is the first series they've lost, I believe.
It is.
And so I don't expect them to lose many series this year. I think that this weekend was one of those fluke weekends.
This is the same Auburn team that took 2 out of 3 from a very, very good A&M team.
You go to the Arctic North that is Lexington, Kentucky, apparently this weekend, and everything gets thrown off.
We're talking about Auburn baseball. Let's make sure to give a little bit of love to the Auburn softball team. Unfortunately, even though they swept Kentucky, they did not move in the polls. They are still 13th in the latest polls. Florida moving up 1 spot to 5th. Georgia moving 1 spot up to 6th. Tennessee, who was 2nd in the nation, however, was swept by South Carolina, have fallen from 2nd to 10th, while South Carolina moves to number 8. And then in front of Auburn is number 12, Texas A&M, and then behind Auburn, number 14, LSU. So Auburn softball looking to get some things going. Auburn baseball went on the road to Kentucky, while Auburn softball stayed here and played Kentucky. Now Auburn softball looks to get some more stuff going as they're going to go on the road to Ole Miss, and they're going to play what I gather is a sneaky good Ole Miss team. While they are not ranked, watch out for what the Rebels can do.
Auburn softball, I haven't been to any games this year, but I've watched a few games. They're not like this, the Mickey Dean era that's come in is not like other softball we've seen back when Clint Myers was head coach, where they're going to hit you out of the park and they're just going to, run you out of the park with runs. They're a low-scoring team. They rely a lot on pitching, and the Auburn softball pitching has been really good this year. Sometimes it's leaves a little to be desired, but overall, they've got good base running. Victoria Draper's out there flying around the bases. She's the career leader in stolen bases.
She's Auburn single season. She's still like at least 20 back of Auburn career. She's probably not going to get it.
She could get it this year.
In SEC play, she's really slowed down on stolen bases. I think she has maybe 3 or 4 in 3 SEC series. So that's one a series. We gotta look at it.
But
we'll keep an eye on it.
I think Auburn softball is going to be just fine.
It'll be just fine. That's going to do it for the show today. Thank you guys for listening. If you want to catch more of the Extra Point, you can catch us on SoundCloud and iTunes at WEGL 91.1 FM. If you want to catch us in video format, you can catch us over at Eagle Eye TV Channel 6 or EagleEyeAuburn.com. As always, we'll be here same time, same place next week, Tuesdays at 1 here on WEGL 91.1 FM or online at WEGLFM.com.
Hey, Jared.
Yep.
We got to get out of here. Let's go row the boat.
We got to go row that boat, and that's your Row the Boat reference of the day. Go Minnesota, and go everybody who has tests today, anybody that got to get some work done, make sure you go out there and do it. Don't be lazy. Get off your butt and do something.
Uh-oh.
What?
I gotta take your advice now.
That's going to do it for the show. Same time, same place next week. We'll see you then.